I don't know if you all have noticed, but it's getting increasingly hard to find a grain meal these days. And it's not just Nutri-Meal. I looked on Mock Mill's website, and Como was one, and I've been kind of keeping up with them, and they will get in stock and then they're out of stock again. So it's across the board. And it got me thinking, because a lot of you have reached out to me, when are the grain meals coming back? When can we get our hands on a grain meal? And hopefully soon. But I wanted to share an alternative that is effective, and it's quite inexpensive when you think about what it can do. And I'm glad that I have this as an option, and it was my first grain meal. It was the very first one, and I used it for, I think, a year. And I like to think of it as the grain meal that I said, if I do this for a year, then I'm going to reward myself with a countertop electric grain meal. And so I did. But this one worked fine. I made all of our bread products with it, and I'm so excited to share it with you today. So let's jump into today's video. So you may be asking yourself, what in the world other alternative is there to a grain meal? I have one, and I've had it for years, and it was my first proper grain meal that I used for about a year before I bought a Nutri-Meal Classic, and that became my daily grain meal. But this one works. It is not, exactly perfectly fine flour, but I baked our bread with it. I made sourdough with it, and it worked just fine for that year. And it taught me that the sun's getting, there we go. The sun's getting pretty bright here today. And it taught me that I would actually stick with it. And so I'm excited to show you this little grain meal, how it works, and show you the motorized option that you can get. And keep in mind, with the motor, this grain meal is $169. I'm going to link it for you in the description box, but it is way cheaper. And it has the hand crank option, which is great for when the power's off. That's why that I kept it after I bought my Nutri-Meal grain meal, because what if the power's off for an extended amount of time and I want to of course I want to steel mill my wheat berries. This works perfect. So I'm going to take you over here. I'm going to show you the grain meal, show you how it works, and then I'm going to show you the motor that goes with it. And then, you have an option if you want to do that instead of either waiting for a grain meal or as a backup grain meal. It's a really good price for a grain meal that you can have for when the power goes out, or, if you did buy a grain meal, maybe something went wrong with it and you had to send it back. You have this as an option, as a pretty inexpensive option too, because it works really well. So let's head over and look at it. Okay, so here is the Victorio Deluxe grain meal. There's the hopper. Now this grain meal uses stainless steel burr grinders, so it grinds the wheat. Here's the handle so that you can turn it, and it turns. The mill heads, and this is how you tighten it or loosen it. So you can loosen it all the way up, or you can tighten it all the way up, and that will get you the finest flour if you tighten it all the way to the right. The flour comes out under here, and it's just super easy to use. There's really not much that can mess up with it, which is nice. And I've had it for years now, and it works just as good as it did as the first day that I got it. So let's grind a little bit of wheat in here so that you can see it in action. And then we're going to look at the motor, the optional motor that you can get with it as well. So I'm going to be doing some soft white wheat. I have that knob all the way to the right, so it's going to be the finest flour. And I'm just going to pour a little bit in here. And then you just turn this clockwise. And I like to brace my hand on the table and kind of get in a stance because you do need a little bit of, you need to be steady to do this. Oop, I forgot to tell you, you have to tighten it up to the table. It has a clamp on the bottom. There we go. Here we go. I know what you're saying, girl, you've lost your mind if you think I'm going to do that to mill my wheat berries. I made myself get really tickled because as I was milling that, I thought I just lost everyone. But no, stay, because that's just if the power's off. There is an optional motor that is completely hands off, and so we're going to look at that. But I just want to say, this is super. Like, it's really, really fine. I forgot. I thought it was a little more coarse. This is very fine flour. For a hand crank grain mill, it does an amazing job. I mean, I can't stop. I'm like, wow, that is really nice flour. But stay with me. I don't want you to think that this is what I was talking about, because it is. And if you have a lot of kids, then you can just let them take turns and they can have your flour milled for you in record time. But if you're like, there ain't no way, I got you covered. This nifty little gadget is the motor. You don't have to turn it, you just turn it on and the flour comes out. So we are going to plug this up. I want to show you because I didn't want to leave you with cranking a grain mill and waiting for hours. I did it. I did the hand crank. I didn't get the motor right away. I did it, and Casey and I took turns with it. It's getting I'm so sorry with the lighting today. It is cloudy, then it's sunny, but we would take turns doing it. It was okay in the winter because you want exercise and it felt good, and it's kind of chilly in the house, so it kind of warmed you up. But in the summer it was not ideal, and so I ordered this when I found out it was really, really affordable. So we're gonna plug it up. I'm gonna show you how to put the motor on, and I think you might change your mind because you're gonna see just how easy it is to mill wheat with this little hand crank mill with our little what is it called? Secret weapon. I think that's what they say. I think y'all are gonna like this. I really do. Okay, so to put this little motor on it couldn't be easier. You just take out the hand crank. And I want to show you. They both have this end that has little notches on it. This one on the motor. And what you want to do is this little lip, put it to the side, and then put the motor, you have to kind of feel it in there and push it all the way in. You'll feel it click, and then that lip's going to be down here, and you can put it in place and it's ready to go. So we got the motor on. It has a little switch here. I'm going to pour just a few more wheat berries because I don't want it to run very long. It's a little bit loud, but I wouldn't say it's any louder than your normal grain mill. So here we go. Okay, to remove the motor, just unplug it, put your hands on it and twist it counterclockwise and pull it out. Super simple. I'm going to show you real quick how to clean this because it's so easy. But sometimes there's a few berries left. You can see them down in there, and I'm going to show you how to get those out. Okay, so to get those out, put a bowl underneath and twist it all the way to the left until it comes off. There you go. And then you want to push the burrs, or the burr, out. That's what's milling your grain. And then I like to take a brush, let me back you off a little, a brush, and just put it down in there. And you can even take something and stick it behind here in this little hole, like a not a toothpick, like a chopstick or something. But I like to just reach up in there and get all that out. Just clean it out after every use, because you don't want to invite insects or anything into your grain mill. Okay, so you have to admit that is easy. That is just as easy as a countertop grain mill. So I want to tell you kind of the pros and cons of having this type of grain mill as compared to like a Nutrimill Classic or Harvest grain mill. Number one, obviously, is you have to attach it to something for it to work. You have to either put it on your table or your countertop, and you can take it on and off, but I found that to be a bit kind of inconvenient, and so I did have mine set up on a counter full time so that I could just plug it up and mill my wheat. Number two, as a con would be that you can't mill quite as much. So that little hopper will hold quite a bit, but nothing like the Nutrimill Classic or even a Wonder Mill would hold in the hopper. So keep that in mind as well. And the third, I don't really want to say that this is a con, but it would be if you only ordered the grain mill without the motor, it's a lot of work. So I highly, for $169, I highly recommend getting the motor, because it's like a little, I don't know what I think my husband's not here, I can't ask him, like a DC motor or something that it ain't gonna like mess up anytime soon. It's an amazingly simple little motor and it just works. Now you could also get like that end that I was telling you about and put it on a drill, and you could actually put that in there and run it with a drill on kind of a low speed. I wanted something kind of that was made for it because I didn't want to mess it up. Knowing me, I would have accidentally put it on supersonic speed and it would just destroy everything, so I just bought the motor for the price. It's super, let's go into the pros. Super easy. There's really no learning curve. You just turn that all the way to the right for most. You can crack grains in this as well, which is a huge pro, because you can make cream of wheat. You can crack grains for animals, for your chickens and things like that. So that is a huge pro for me, and I love that. Another pro would be it's quiet. I didn't have to put in hearing protection. Actually, that motor is much quieter than a regular grain mill. And it makes fine enough flour that you can make whatever you want with it. You can feed your sourdough starters, you can make bread. Like I said, with the motor, you can just set it and forget it, fill that hopper up, and you could even come back and just keep filling it until you get the amount. What I would do when I used it is put a bowl that had like cup measurements on it, and I would just keep an eye on that, and when I got to like 4 cups of flour, or if I needed 3 cups of flour, then I just let it finish up and I was good. So I have to say, I had forgotten about this grain mill, and then somebody sent me a message and got me thinking about it. Like, is there not an alternative? Because I want to get started milling my wheat, but can I do it in a blender? Can I do it? And I got thinking, man, this is a really solid option, especially for starting out, because you're not putting near as much money into it. It's super simple. It's tiny. You can store it really easy. And with the motor, it's a set and forget. You fill it up and it's good to go. So I got thinking about it. I was like, this is a really, really good option for those of you who are just starting out and you're not even sure if this is something you're going to stick with. So I hope that you will look into it at least and get thinking about it, because I am so hot. It's a heat wave here. I don't know about where you live, but it is a heat wave here. well, I was going to say I'll probably edit that out, but no, I'm human. I'm hot, so I'm just going to leave it. I hope you'll look into it. My advice is if you were going to get something like this, is to buy like 5 pounds of wheat berries and this, and you're out way less than $200 to get started. And then at least you'll know, is this what I want to do? You can start baking with it. You can start, you know, experimenting with the freshly milled flour. So, all right, well, that is all that I had for you today. I'm really excited about this. I think that it's going to open up a lot of people who are waiting and waiting and waiting. It's going to open up a way for them to get started. And I can't believe I had forgotten about this grain mill. But now that I've got it out, I'm like, that's, you know, I need to just set this up because it's kind of old-timey looking, and I probably will. I'm just going to leave it out just for fun because it looks nice in the kitchen if I put it on one of my wooden tables. So you'll probably be seeing it in videos coming up. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Leave me a comment down below if this is an option that interests you, if this is something you're going to look into, or if you have one of these, what you think about it. And also, I'm going to leave a link in the description box. Now, the link is going to take you to the grain mill with the motor, but if you look, there's options for just the grain mill that you can get as well. That's $99. And with the motor, it's $169. So I will leave that in the description box below so y'all can go check it out. All right, well, that's all I have. I hope y'all have a wonderful week, and I will see you here next week, same day, same time.